welcome to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx, and let's get into it. Hold on one moment. All right, it's a little cold, so I had to get on my jacket. I love it so much. Okay, so this video is to help clarify Bashar's teachings, the law of attraction, the manifestation process, but especially the five laws, the five principles. And the people who are struggling with understanding Bashar, working with Bashar, and getting what they need out of it is because they're coming from a place where they either want something or they're stuck. I mean, you obviously want something because you feel stuck. Maybe stuck in a negative feelings, self beat up. You're not liking your circumstances, so you're like, okay, now I want to study law of attraction. I want to raise my vibration. I want to be spiritual. Go new age. Maybe new age has answers for me. So, but the reality is Bashar is saying you don't need to meditate. You don't need to visualize. You don't need to go new age and buy in to all the tools, techniques, philosophy, stories, and narratives on how to do life and how to get what you want and how to be yourself. He's saying this is like the unsaid stuff that people aren't really having a clue about. He's saying you need to know yourself. And through this knowing, it clarifies what you actually want out of life, what you actually need. Because you now know exactly what you want and what you need, and you've stopped subscribing to other people's narratives, perspectives, other people's truths, other people's permission slips, you can now unburden yourself, free yourself. And now what is needed will automatically show up for you. What is desired? What is in your highest good? What's in your best interest? So he sums up is following your excitement is the only formula you'll ever need. But what he's also offering is the five laws of the universe. But if you truly understand the five laws, then in a weird way, you can maximize, double down on the manifestation formula. Follow your highest excitement for as long as possible, and at the level that you can follow it, whatever level you can follow it all the way till the end, till you can follow it no further. Then when you're done and you don't know where to go, follow the next thing that comes to your mind and follow the next thing, and pretty soon you end up where you want to be, because you don't know. You can't possibly reason and think and understand the greatness of your capabilities, the greatness of the life that you could live, because you're currently living it in the place where you're stuck. And how did you get there? You were probably trying to do it all on your own. And so he uses the analogy as basically someone is on the ship who has like the air pump and the device and has the map and knows where you need to go, and then you're down underwater with the air tank on and the goggles, and you're trying to do the job of the navigator, the one who is there at a different level, your higher self, who has the roadmap, who knows where you're going, and who is actually in a relationship with you, in a co-creation experience to help navigate you from dangers and help direct you while you're underwater. And so it's a two-way street. So imagine that you're on the boat and your friend is down underwater, maybe hunting for treasure. You're probably on the boat, even though you have all the tools, the instruments to navigate air pressure, to navigate the terrain, incoming objects. Who knows? You can make it as high tech as you want. For example, a spaceship, and a person down on a planet doing the research. You up there, you're so excited and you're wondering and you're curious, but you're also hoping and wishing the best of your colleague, of your friend. Uh, and so there's the element of surprise, there's the element of anticipation. And so you're helping your friend to the best of your abilities. Okay, now let's switch perspectives, points of view. You're the person underwater. You got the air tank thing on, you got your goggles on, and you're groping around, swimming around uh, the terrain, and it looks different than what you saw on the map. It looks different than what you saw on the screen. You're actually living it in a 3D experience. You now get to feel the texture of the algae and the seaweed and see all the marine life swimming around. You get to feel the temperature. You get to have a totally different experience. And it can be very disorienting, but you're having an experience that the navigator up on the boat doesn't get to have. So you're both having two different experiences. And when you learn to work together, you stay the course, you find the treasure, you're both excited. And so it's like you double your excitement, you double your pleasure, and but this success story really only happens uh, when you work together. I mean, on the surface of the water, there could be a storm brewing, and things could be happening. Some dangerous objects could be moving your direction. It's the people on board, it's your crew, it's that special teammate that's supposed to help signal with you to do that, however it is. And so, building this relationship with yourself, know thyself, is a universal teaching and principle. When you're out of alignment with yourself, uh, is usually where all the problems begin, and getting back in alignment is how you cure and remedy the situation. Once you're back on alignment, once your GPS is working again, so you can get back on track and you can get to where you need to be. So following your excitement gets you to where you need to be on many, many levels. So then we have people. So I watched a bunch of Bashar's videos and I really resonate with a lot of his stuff. And I definitely had major breakthroughs. I had some of my own personal realizations. I had my own alien visitation, which isn't hard for me because I've always been on what we label as the spiritual path. But kind of naturally being a rebel, I don't like calling it the spiritual path. I don't like making it sensational. And I feel like, so anyways, let's move on. So if you're ever having a problem with manifestation and the manifestation steps and formula, Bashar says, you don't understand it. And what you don't understand is the power isn't exactly in just staying happy. The power isn't exactly in visualizing. The power is your real purpose and goal is to know yourself. So then you go, okay, let's apply. So it doesn't matter where you start in the journey, what excited you, what piqued your interest to clue into Bashar. Maybe it was extraterrestrials and aliens, other civilizations. Maybe it was channeling. So for me, it was actually channeling. I'm already a channel. I'm already pretty gifted in developing my own personal abilities. But I got into Bashar because I was like, how do I deal with other people? How their questions, their behaviors. I'm channeling, but some very unexpected human things can happen in an experience. So I gravitated towards his work as a mentor. I'm like, great, I get to sit in on one of these videos where he does channeling and has asked bizarre questions, and uh, audience members get to interact with him in very unpredictable ways. That could possibly happen to me because I'm really thinking about opening it up and bringing it out to people. So that was my attraction. And then it led, obviously, into more realization, more conscious expansion. And I ended up getting so much more than what I went in for. And so I call that the carrot on the stick, you know. And we see this in many of the questions where he says, drop expectations, drop insistency, because you don't know uh, the full, you don't know all that you could receive. It could be 10 times better than you could ever imagine. Your higher mind has a broader perspective, has an expanded awareness, and might be just giving you the carrot on the stick, which could be improving your finances, getting the relationship that you want, feeling a sense of freedom and oneness with source. Whatever it is, your higher mind could give you that and more. Instead of this and that, it's this and that. You can end up getting both. So I got both, and that's a good example of the paradox principle. So let's move on. So now, so it's like, okay, let's really start. So the five laws is basically a way in physics. So, like he says, this isn't a philosophy, this isn't a nice idea. This is really how things work. And what is real is existence is real. Okay? We manufacture our reality, we manufacture our buildings, we manufacture our computers, we manufacture our social interactions. We create rules, laws, and how we shake hands, we bow, we eat 3 times a day. These are all manufactured. We create this, but without that, you still exist. So without the matrix, without the formalities, without the rules, and without the laws that we make up and we just assume is true, we just assume is right, we exist. Um, and so really, if you really start focusing on the five laws, you don't need to learn the law of attraction. And in a really weird way, you don't even have to know what you need and want, because it becomes automatically clarified and you become realigned. So really understand the first law is you exist. And in existence, everything is inclusive. So when people are talking about manifestation, feeling disappointed, when people are polarized in wrong or right, and feeling dis-ease and dissatisfaction, they're not being inclusive. I want this. I'm insistent on that. It has to go my way. This is the way it looks. This is the way I want it. Well, you're not being inclusive. You're limiting. You're limited. In existence, everything can fit in existence, including non-existence. So by existence, its very nature, existence is actually greater than non-existence. So a lot of us, we have some backwards thinking, backwards concepts. But anyways, so the first law is you exist. You are consciousness itself. Consciousness itself can't be measured truly. We could measure it in the 3D sense, but it's unlimited. It breaks the time space barrier. So it goes into what we call pure being. And I like to say non definition. But, anyways, let's move on. The second law is the, the one, the all in one, the one in the many. So there's this, which kind of moves into what he talks about, the three levels of consciousness. Okay? You have, but this also moves into, so there's a threefold nature in creation. It's actually not duality. And this is what gets you unstuck. This is what helps you move through emotional baggage. This is what helps you push stop on your narrative, resolve your problems, internal conflict, external conflict. And this is the power of being neutral. This is the power of letting go of your descriptions. This helps you erase the chalkboard or erase and edit the script that you're writing for yourself. And it all has to do uh, with the one and all and the all in one. Uh, through neutrality, it embraces both polarities. It resolves the paradox of subject and object, and we get synthesis. And it goes into the three minds. It is your higher mind's job to conceive. It is your subconscious job to receive, and it is your brain's job to perceive. Perceive means to be aware. Aware of what? Of what has been received by your subconscious, and what your subconscious has received that was conceived by your higher mind, etc., etc. So in his teachings, we have the psychology model flipped on its head, where we think the subconscious is lower and beneath. It's receptive and it is the storehouse of information, but it's actually what it's receptive to isn't the lowest point, us, in the 3D, in our brains, in our limited perspective. It's actually, it kind of receives both. But when you put it above, then you understand the subconscious can receive what you're signaling and sending, but it can also receive what your higher mind is signaling and sending. And so, what you're going to want to do is develop the relationship. This is why symbols, visualization, looking for positive synchronicities, and this is and it it's the bridge that helps you communicate with higher minds, sending the signals. Once again, you're down in the water with your face mask and goggles on and your air tank, and your higher mind is representative of the person on board, your teammate helping you monitoring the instruments that measure your heartbeat and all sorts of things and the terrain. So this subconscious uh, is the go-between. It's the medium. Anyways, so but this second principle of all in one and one in all moves us into the holographic nature of reality. Each piece is a part of the whole. The whole, everything exists within the whole, and we create the idea of separation as parts and pieces only within the whole, because the whole itself cannot truly be divided. Therefore, we get the illusion of division, which creates time and which creates space, and it kind of creates the illusion, the realities, and the infinite possibilities. So from the one come the many, and through the many, still the one is there, perceiving, witnessing, learning, enjoying itself from the multidimensional perspectives that it is. And so, but this becomes really important because then it gives birth to the third law, which is all is here now. Being in the now and being present uh, allows you to become multidimensional. It allows you to change the narratives. It allows you is the stop button and the start button. It's the snake eating its tail. It's the Ouroboros. It's the end and it's the beginning. So it becomes really powerful when you start using the tools in the toolkit of following your excitement. It helps. So what is basically Zen? It's be here now. And it actually really goes into self-appreciation and this principle of being in the now and all is one and you exist resolves the whole issue of wanting and needing stuff anyways, because the more present you are in the now, the more you self-realize yourself as existence itself. So it leads you to God realization right there. No visualization required, just learn to be in the moment. It refills your cup, all the things that you felt like you didn't need, everything that you want, that void. The more present you are, the more it automatically creates a positive magnet and you just suck in and attract everything that needs to fill that void. So it's automatic self-healing just by practicing the power of being present, which is also being aware. So you automatically become aware and awake, and then it fulfills the be do have law, being present, be here now is a natural state of doing. It's the non-doing of doing. And so when you lack inspiration, when you lack motivation, be still. Let your mind be at peace. Stop thinking. I want to talk to my higher self. I want to channel. Okay, master being. Let your mind be, it will work itself out. Let your body be, and it will heal. Just be, and all this programmed behavior, programmed thinking, programmed reactive emotional responses of depression and anxiety naturally settle. You find your center, you realign automatically, you're reconnected to your higher mind, and what you need automatically downloads without all the magic, without all the mysticism, without names and aliens and stories and narratives. Here I am. So practice being here now, or I would call it very light meditation. Go on a walk, be present. Slow down, drink your tea, savor it. So this is also the uniting. So I have to do in this dimension, higher mind only understands your symbolic actions. That's what magic is. That was a little bit of a tangent, but the reality is the whole point of being here, why do all this? Why exist if it isn't to experience joy? And why would you invest your time and energy into anything unless it's going to give you joy? So when you slow down and savor and maximize, like literally you slow time, stop time, like, oh, this moment is so wonderful, I wish it would last forever. Okay, make it last forever, right here, right now. One moment is forever. And forever is in one moment. So this is like the paradox, understanding paradox. The beginning is the end is the beginning. The all in one, the one in all, the ocean in the drop in the ocean. This pretty much opens you up. It's an amazing key to unlock so many things. So let's move on. The mirror-like nature of reality. Nature, life, reality, you can start to see it as a representative, a symbolic representation of what's going on in your own mind, of what's going on in the divine mind. So all the symbols, all the forms represent, this is really important, ideas. They represent descriptions, how we describe something. So mathematics is describing objects in space, the dimensions, you can measure them. And so if it has form and words and thoughts and ideas and beliefs and stories, are a language, and that is a form. It's a thought form. So things are brought into nature. They're given dimension uh, with the mirror-like nature of reality, which is also part of the holographic nature of reality and the fractal nature of reality. So you can understand spirituality through basic physics without going overboard. But and this works so much better because it connects the circuit. We have thoughts, we have ideas, we have wants, we have needs, we have feelings, we have sensations, and we go, but that's not the full equation. That's half the equation. That's half the answer. That's half the truth. The other half is the physics behind it. And when you put the two together, you are operating with a whole mind. When you add the left and the right brain, when you add your higher mind and your mind, uh, you're now operating multidimensionally. So you don't have to go out of your body. You don't have to meditate the day away. You don't have to chant. You can start understanding the principles behind it all. And so I want to introduce you to the idea of a multi-dimensional human being here now. Instead of seeing it all outside of you in a disempowered way, instead of seeing it as an ideal pedestaled, like the idea of heaven being above you and far reaching, the idea in order for you to progress in your evolution that you have to do a lot, flip it on its head with the paradox. It's all within you. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, the seed or the tree? Are we seeing the trees or the tree, or are we seeing the forest? And so an expanded view, we also need the narrow view, but we get stuck. So some people get stuck thinking the expanded view, more information, more technology, more, bigger, greater, more dimensions. There's 3 dimensions. Now there's 10 dimensions. Oh, it needs to come from an angel. Now it needs to come from an alien. Now it needs to come. You can also bring it down, crystallize it. That's how things are created. So the expanded is valuable in relationship to the narrow, to the birth. There is the 3D is just as valuable and equal as 5D. They enhance each other. Your negative characteristics are just as valuable as your positive characteristics. Hence, we go back to neutrality and we go back to oneness, balance, and harmony, and whatever. Okay, moving into, let's see. And the principle number 5 is everything changes. Now, we kind of go, okay, everything changes, it's unpredictable, and maybe I can't expect this will last. Yeah, that's true, but everything changes becomes an even more powerful principle when you realize the movies, the timelines, these moments that we enjoy, if they were stuck, yeah, it would get boring. If you were stuck, things wouldn't move and progress. If you were get stuck, you actually have no choice. Falling into negativity, bad habits, you start repeating and you feel stuck. I've been this way my whole life. I'm really committed to keeping this old fashioned value. I'm really committed to not being in the flow, not having. So, a lot of people get stuck in wanting, they get stuck in needing, they get stuck in disappointment, they get stuck in the idea, character of who they think they are. This is who I am, therefore I can't act that way. So, whatever reason you have to stay stuck can get dislodged with this last principle. Everything changes. We want to experience the flow, the breeze, the movement of the seasons. The We don't want to stay 21 forever. That's a horrible place. But you won't know it until you get to the other perspective, which is adulthood. Then you go, I am so glad I'm over my 20s. I'm so glad those aren't my needs anymore. You know, the need to start a family. I'm so over that. You know, just like when you're little, you don't want all that responsibility of adults. And so, and so everything changes is a very empowering place to be. If things didn't change, you would have no choice and you would feel totally stuck and in prison. If everything never changed and you were enlightened, you'd be stuck just knowing it all. And that would be no fun. And there's no adventure and there's no movement and you'd be stagnant. You'd be like in a museum of artwork with no one there to view it. It would be like a dead city, a beautiful, beautiful, high tech, magical city lost. There's no one visiting. You need visitors. You need interaction. And so everything changes, basically creates energy, creates purpose and meaning, and turns on the amusement park with all the rides. It's the go button. And so it comes to life. Lights, camera, action. Or you could say lights, camera, change. Action is change. So we change, we're required to change. Use change to your advantage. Knowing when you're done with something, knowing when it's time to release, you open up a space for the thing that you wanted to manifest. So a lot of people are in strong resistance with ideas, definitions, rules,